Welcome to part 6 of this tour of the posters in the Grateful Dead concert poster exhibition running at the Narrows Center in Fall River, Massachusetts through April 1, 2023. Here are The Who and the Grateful Dead, paired in 1976 with art by Phil Garris, who also did the cover of Blues for Allah. By the early 1970s, fans, cities, and promoters were all tired of huge events in muddy fields like Woodstock. And Bill Graham was in the vanguard of staging rock concerts instead in football stadiums. The stadium shows were usually all-day affairs with several bands, giving everybody a taste of a rock festival, but with adequate parking, food, and facilities. This is one of the only authorized reprints of the super rare poster for what is referred to simply as Barton Hall, the show regarded by many as the best Grateful Dead performance ever. The show was played on Mother's Day, which started as a fine spring afternoon with frisbees out on the lawn, but it later plunged in temperature, and by the time the band took the stage, a huge snowstorm was raging outside. About 5 inches of snow greeted the bleary-eyed Deadheads at the exit. Few posters were produced for the show, reportedly 500 or less, and they were mainly distributed to Cornell Concert Commission members and students, with a small number of posters going to ticket outlets. Little advertising was done, or needed for that matter. The show sold out in 2 days. The poster was designed by Cornell senior engineering student Jay Mabry, now an orthopedic surgeon practicing in Texas. Here's a poster by Mouse and Kelly that was sold on tour in 1978. How many of those shows did you attend? This Cyclops Mammoth was created by Andrew Elias for the January 29, 1979 show at Shays Theater up in Buffalo. You'll notice the pyramids as reflecting the Grateful Dead September 1978 foray out to Egypt. By the late 1970s, with New York City in fiscal freefall, Radio City Music Hall's future was shaky. Attendance was dropping, and plans to convert it into an office building or a parking lot loomed. During talks to save the building, the idea of booking rock acts came up, and in the spring of 1980, they had presented Linda Ronstadt. Now they would host the Dead for 8 nights from October 22nd to 31st. By the first night at Radio City, the nerves of the theater's owners were frayed. Deadheads had been lining up around the block to buy tickets, making it hard for employees to get into the buildings. When Radio City management saw this commemorative poster for the event, they decided to retaliate. Interpreting the skeletons as a death wish for the hall and claiming that the facade was a copyrighted logo, the corporation ordered the band to stop selling the poster. Artist Dennis Larkin said, "Here we were, saving Radio City from its demise, and they're suing us for doing it. The skeletons weren't intended to imply the death of anything. They were just part of normal Grateful Dead iconography." The original first printing run for the Radio City poster was 3,000. 500 were sent to New York City, but they had to be destroyed. The remaining 2,500 posters back in the Bay Area were also supposed to be eliminated, but the archivist said she just couldn't bring herself to destroy them, but she had told the band that she had. This beautiful poster was by Stanley Mouse for the Grateful Dead's fall 1981 tour of Europe, their last visit across the pond until 1990. After their trio of shows in 1970, 71, and 72 at Austin's Municipal Stadium in Texas, the Dead found a new home base at Manor Downs, a horse training facility and racetrack just northeast of Austin that was owned by old friends of the group, Francis Carr and Sam Cutler. The Dead wound up playing at Manor Downs in 1977, 81, 82, 83, and 1985. The scene at Manor Downs' Dead shows was a combination of bikers, hippies, cowboys, and freaks, and everybody got along. This July 4th, 1981 poster is by Michael Priest, who is a well-known artist in Austin. Here is the 1982 Austin Manor Downs poster, also by Michael Priest. It is nicknamed Acid Horse. These 1981 shows at the Greek Theater on UC Berkeley's Eden Lake campus began an annual tradition and also ushered in a series of annual outdoor shows in California, including the Frost Amphitheater at Stanford, Ventura, and the Cal Expo in Sacramento. Each year through 1989, local Deadheads would be treated to a trio of shows at the band's outdoor home court, the Greek. Art by Danny Ziegler. This poster is for the 1982 Greek shows. Artwork also by Danny Ziegler. This poster, designed by Dennis Larkins, has a wonderful Native American theme, which befits an appearance in Santa Fe, New Mexico on October 17, 1982. The Dead played outdoors in Grass Valley in September 1983. Grass Valley is in California's foothills between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe, and this poster was used to sell tickets and guide people by map to the location. Art is by Armando Busick. This is a popular poster commemorating the Grateful Dead's run of 6 shows in the fall of 1984 at the Berkeley Community Theater. The BCT held fewer than 3,500 people, and those of us attending were treated to an intimate experience with what seemed like San Francisco's local band. 28% of their 64 shows that year happened to be in the Bay Area. Fans were treated to 99 different songs out of 105 total over the 6 nights, underscoring the Dead's legendary breadth and depth of catalog. These shows were also notable for having the first officially designated taper section on the floor. This piece is by psychedelic-era Big Five master artist Rick Griffin and features a grinning pharaoh skull wearing shades and sporting some steal-your-face headphones. Griffin mislabeled the venue as the Berkeley Community Center instead of theater. The design had not been approved by the promoter or management of the concert, and most of the posters were confiscated outside the show where Griffin was selling them. Those that survived that unfortunate raid are not seen for sale very often. We're ready to go to part 7 now, the final part of our tour.